Welcome to Seat Time, where we drink beer and talk about all the happenings with motorcycles. Welcome to Seat Time, everybody. It has been far too long. This is episode 58, and unfortunately I can say it's been about 4 weeks since episode 57. That is way too long, as we just said.
Too long.
So many seconds ago. It's ridiculous. This young ginger next to me, who is the scruffiest son of a bitch ever, is Chris Storrie, son of Brian Storrie. Local legends and badassery all throughout the family. It's pretty crazy. So thank you for coming down and being on the couch.
Yeah,
what do you think?
No problem, man. I mean, anytime. I've always
Crapped
wanted,
up as ever.
always wanted to come on the set and just have some good time. Pint full awesome.
Yes, and it's actually a set now, which is really cool. I'm excited, even though we're cramped in here right now. This will eventually be somewhat of a set. It'll be the Seat Time studio. I'm going to be able to have an actual desk. Be able to keep the couch. It'll be fun. I think it's going to be interesting.
Adult video and
yeah, I mean, no, I'm not going to tell anybody about that. That's for my own personal YouTube account that I keep private. But you're still legal, right? I could.
Got it.
Yep, done. Sure. Okay, so we're actually going to talk about some moto news and not just some of the things that turn us on the weekends. But some of the things that turn us on the weekends is moto news. So, what the heck has been happening? Well, one of the reasons that we and Seat Time has been so off the radar lately is because we were trying to go. We went to the ISDE qualifiers. I went to the first one the first weekend of June in Boise, Idaho, and Chris Storrie went to Ohio. Which city was it in? Yep,
it was.
Went to Ohio,
right outside of Wellston.
Right outside of Wellston, so some small little town that barely exists except for things like this in Ohio. The second weekend of June. We're gonna kind of do our own, sharing of stories because of the fact that I was on the West Coast and he was more on the East Coast. But Boise, Idaho was absolutely intense. So Wes McKnight and I drove the 27-hour drive through Colorado before the fires over to Boise, Idaho. Met up with Dale from Fly Racing, which we have to thank because they're awesome. And that was an epic trip. I don't know, you know Wes McKnight, right?
I do.
That shit crazy. Dude's awesome. Does a lot of cool stuff for the city that he lives in and all the scenes that he's involved in. But holy crap, he's definitely the guy you want to road trip with. Totally excited, so much fun. Hell of a great rider. Definitely. Got me super stoked on it. I'm telling you, Chris, this was exactly what your dad told me it was going to be. It was scary as shit, and I did not want to race on this terrain. It was the funnest stuff and some of the hardest stuff I've ever done on a motorcycle, but it was totally worth it. Unfortunately, I did not qualify. I had just about the worst riding experience I've ever had. I couldn't tell my bike from somebody else's. It was horrible, racing experience, but riding-wise, experience-wise, adventure, oh, dude, off the charts. Totally an 11. Totally an 11.
Totally an 11.
So, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you, Wes McKnight. Thank you, everybody who came and said hi. I really enjoyed meeting everybody. It was so much fun. I'm going to do at least one qualifier every year if there's one under 20 hours away. Because I'm not doing over 20 ever again. I went batshit crazy on that road. So, tell me about your trip to Ohio and then the news after the fact. Because there's some good news to come for you after the fact. So
yeah, for sure.
Give us the realm.
Me and my dad loaded up. I can't remember what day it was, but we loaded up one night and hit the sack, and then we woke up in the morning.
Whoa, that's your dad, man. That's your dad.
No, and then it took us about a day and a half to get there. It was a good 17 hours. We would do about 4-hour shifts. We started driving at, I believe, 6:30 in the morning, and we got to somewhere in the country at like...
We made it east-north-ish.
Yeah, at like 10 o'clock, got a hotel. And
you guys brought the bikes in, didn't you?
Into the room. And it was some sketchy stuff, too, because as soon as I went to go to bed, I picked up my pillow and there was a cockroach underneath it. And
tasty.
That's
not a snack?
No. I was not very pleased about that. I slept horrible that night. And sure enough, I mean, my dad can sleep through.
I know. Your dad slept in the same bed with me before, so he could sleep through anything, you know? Like a little chihuahua just going at it.
But,
it's pretty bad.
Yeah, we woke up the next morning, finished the drive. It was a good 4 more hours after that, and then we got to the site, and we were actually one of the first few people there, and it was really cool. We pulled off the highway, and the first thing you see is just rolling hills, just banners everywhere. And what the banners were for was literally the most badass grass track I have ever ridden. I mean, it was the only one I've actually been on that had elevation. So
it wasn't Texas.
I hear, yeah, Texas is flat. Ohio is like the Sound of Music. I mean, it was intense. And
were you the one in the dress, or was there somebody else singing?
we were both wearing dresses.
Yes.
But we signed up that day and went to bed. And well, I take that back. We walked the grass track, and it was just amazing. The first time I've ever seen a grass track that had hills and stuff, like I had said, and just got signed up, went back to the hotel, got a good sleep, came back the next morning, and honestly, the riding was just, it was awesome. I mean,
wasn't too muddy, wasn't too dusty.
No, it was
actually spot on.
Primo. I mean,
that's half the reason why nobody goes to Ohio is because it's either super dusty or super muddy, and there's I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I've heard that so many times, and it just seems like we got there at the perfect time. I mean, at the end of the day, there was a little bit of dust on the grass track and stuff, but in the woods, it was just red clay. It was all like bunch of shadows and stuff, and it wasn't enough to get to you, so it was a really good time, and just the trails were really good flowing, and there'd be like random jumps, and you'd hit it, and you'd be like, oh, that was badass, and then you notice no one's around you, so you feel like a loser.
Right.
But it was
That's okay. It's all up here, man.
Yeah. And then the first day for me, it was decent. I got 4th, which I honestly think I had a really good day, and then we saw the results, and I noticed I needed to step it up big time.
Right.
And then my dad had some troubles in one of the grass tracks. He had the front end wash out, and he said he crashed harder than he probably has in a couple years. And he was definitely showing it too, just limping, and definitely had to have a beer after that.
Acting older than 40, and he is not. Sometimes he's acts like him.
But he finished 5th that day, so we got a 4th and a 5th, and we knew exactly what we had to do Sunday to. I mean, we basically had to win our class or get second or just show some huge improvements to qualify.
Balls is what he really means.
So, yeah, basically. We got a good night's sleep, woke up in the morning, and we had our race faces on, and it was on. And at the start of the day, my dad had some brake problems, but he ended up fighting through them, and he ended up winning his class for the day.
That's awesome.
And it was
ridiculously awesome.
It was a really good day for him, and then same thing for me. I honestly think I had the best ride that I've ever had in my life. And yet, I still didn't win that day. I finished second to Fred Host, but that guy is a legend. He's been to 6 times. He's been doing this for a long time. 6 days, 20 times. And it was crazy. The guy that got 3rd that day, we actually tied 3 times to the second in 3 tests. Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
And I ended up pinching him out by, I believe, 13 seconds or something like that.
Wow.
Or I honestly don't know exactly, but I ended up getting second for the day, and it put me 3rd overall for the weekend, and my dad was also 3rd overall for the weekend. And as many of y'all know, it was transfer spots was only the first 2.
Yeah, we were waiting on those calls to figure out who was going to make it. They got all kinds of committees that vote on this kind of stuff. So even though they were really close, it was really up to maybe the first 2, and then they were going to vote on it. But apparently, the good news came through, so that's great to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us how it went. How it went down.
It's kind of a funny story, too, because, I mean, I've told myself many times if I actually qualified, I was really going to buckle down on training and take it seriously.
I'm going to watch.
And when I got the call that they told us that we were going to Germany, I was buying donuts. And
hey, what's up, fatty?
It was just one of those things where, I left the cash register and I was, biting into my first donut hole, and I pick up the phone, and he's like, hey, you're going to Germany. And I wanted to just spit the thing out. I was like, oh, I feel so bad, but at the same time, this is amazing that we actually made it, and it's gonna be a really cool deal because I mean, it's gonna be my dad's
baller status
9th time, and it'll be my first time, and just the whole aspect of the father-son team is just a big thing I've always wanted to do and kind of looked up to my dad, and now that it's an actual opportunity, I'm gonna take it seriously, and it's gonna be awesome.
The name, Missouri Mutters. Did you guys get stuck with that? What's the deal? I mean, I don't mean to diss those guys, but one guy's from Colorado and you're both from Texas. How did you guys wind up the Missouri Mutter
team? I don't
team?
remember what I was doing, but I saw on Facebook, I think it was something that you posted on the Seat Time Facebook about the AMA posting the press release. And I got on there and I was looking for our names. And then finally I got to the bottom and it was looking at club teams. And I saw our names and then I was looking at what team we were on and it said Missouri Mutters. And I couldn't help myself but laugh.
Yeah, you're like, okay.
I was like, hey, more power to the team that wants to sponsor us. That's awesome. Thank y'all very much.
Is that how it's kind of based? Is off the team that wants to sponsor those riders?
Yeah, there's different clubs, and they basically just pitch in money to the riders that need sponsors, basically. But it was just one of those things where I saw the name and I was just like, that's awesome, but
Okay.
I gotta laugh.
Well, that makes much more sense. Yeah, it was just kind of like, well, I don't really get it because none of them are anywhere near close to Missouri, and us are closer than Scott Bright, who's over in Colorado. So I don't know. But hey, congratulations! That's freaking awesome. I wish I could have been going with you guys. I know the O'Learys wish they could have been going. I know that like freaking Wes would have enjoyed to go. I'm still toying with the idea, seeing if there's a possibility I can find a way to make it over towards the end of the ISDE, because not only do I want to be there towards the end, but I want to be there for Oktoberfest. I think I might enjoy a couple brews.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Says you can legally drink there.
Technically,
you can get your own damn driver. You know, you don't have to be the DD anymore. Nope. So the ISDE is happening. Starts September 24th. Main reason I remember that date is because that's my wedding anniversary. So if I actually had qualified, my wife would have told me it would have been okay to go. I hadn't. So next year we're gonna find one under 20 hours to go.
Do it.
We go race. Nothing else. Okay. 2013 KTMs are coming out. People are super psyched about this. Ryan Dungey's been doing a really good job in the outdoor series this year with the Supercross and outdoors, really promoting that bike that they put out, that they've built essentially for him before he got on the team with Roger DeCoster, but pretty much knowing Ryan Dungey's going to come over. This is going to be his bike. Number 5, what up? So you got to ride a lot of the 2013 KTMs that have been coming out, almost all of them, the whole line, at the dealer day that just happened in Sacramento.
Hangtown, California.
They talked to you on Monday, told you this, that, the other, then you rode the bikes on Tuesday. Give it to us. What's up with the bikes? How's that shit rolling?
Honestly, I mean, we showed up and I was in heaven. They had over 100 bikes.
It was a sea of orange.
Yeah, a sea of orange. KTM tents, trailers, sprinters, everything. There was a bunch of dealers there. I can't remember exactly how many there were, but they had 130 bikes. 130 for all of us to just rip the whole day.
To break.
And, nah, they're not going to break, but I definitely tried.
Yeah. So did Matt Crouch.
Bounce.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah. Give us a minute. But it was really cool. I mean, Monday they had some press releases and stuff where they were telling us about the bikes. Just a bunch of changes, new motors, frames, all kinds of just the whole shebang.
Right.
And it was a lot to learn.
The semantics about what you're about to ride. Yeah. Kind of like breaking it down.
Definitely. It was a lot to learn, and it also helped to really know what to look at when you're going to ride that bike. And when we got to ride the bikes and just the whole experience of Hangtown, it was definitely a good time, and we all learned a lot.
So Monday was educational. But no Kirk Caselli, huh?
Kirk Caselli, he was
playing Ghost on us.
He was there, but the only time I saw him was walking into the bathroom.
And you're like, I'm not going to walk in and shake his hand right now.
Well, no, that's the thing. Me and my dad...
You did.
Yeah.
You're like, hey.
We're like, hey, man, I'm next to you in the urinal. What's up?
Yeah. Here's my tongue.
Yeah, the only time we actually saw him was when me, my dad, Josh, and Matt were going to a social media class. And it was just one of those things where we were trying to get there on time, and
is that what they called it?
Caught a glimpse.
They called it a social media class.
Yeah, and they did, and it was all about Twitter, Facebook, and just learning how to really publish your business and try to get all out of the websites that you can for your business.
Sounds like I should have been running that class. I'll give you some social media.
Do it.
All right, so. We find out all about the bikes on Monday. We go out and we run a ride. So what's your first bike? Which one did you jump on first? Or which one did they tell you to get on? I don't really know.
It was, I mean, it's pretty much first come, first serve. They had every bike as of size, SX, XC, XCW, in a line. So you had your choice of 130 orange machines, and it was all up to you. So the first thing we do is we walk down there. It's me, Matt Crouch, Brian Storrie, which is my father, and Josh Wosner. And there's 4 125s, so we all hopped on the 125s.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was awesome because the track had just been disked, and we were the first 4 guys on the track, and it was so deep, and we're 4th gear pin going up hills, just barely moving just because it's so deep. But I will say, once the track broke in, the 125 was a lot of fun, and those things fly for how small they are.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You like the 150 a lot, which is, kind of like the 144, just a little bit more punch than the 125. But beyond knowing that you enjoy the 150 so much, what we know that we've heard that there's been a lot of changes to the 250 XSF, and I would imagine that you rode that bike. So you rode that bike. Tell us your thoughts on the changes that they've made to that bike.
All right, KTM 250SXF. Out of every single bike that I rode, I wasn't even like, I'm probably gonna get a new bike soon, and I was there also to realize which bike I thought I might want, and I had no idea that I thought I might be interested in that 250F. But after I rode that bike, it was hands down for multiple people the best machine that was there. I mean, completely new motor that's got 5 more horsepower, different swing arm, plastics, just pretty much everything for the most part. And that bike...
Package it up and ship it. I want it.
Yeah. And just compared to the 2012 and now the 2013, that bike is completely different. When it's time to hammer down, that bike will definitely burn the dirt up, and you just drop the elbow and it goes wherever you want. It's light, you can maneuver it, but when you're looking for some power, it's definitely there.
Burn the dirt up. I like that. I don't think I've ever heard that. I'm going to use that more often.
And you can ride the trail. Faux show.
Faux show. I don't know if that's going to happen. I tend to ride the dirt with my head down quite a few times. If you watch any of the helmet videos that I do, I crash at least 3 times every video. It's kind of just keeping it real, you know?
It happens.
Show the normal people how they ride.
Sometimes it's good to sample the dirt.
Yeah.
Kind of looks good.
It's normal. It's normal.
Candy in a candy store.
Okay, so, but you didn't get to ride the 500, did you?
I did not get to ride the 500.
Why didn't you get to ride the 500?
Well, they had...
you were playing nurse?
They had the motocross loop, which was the infamous Hangtown MX National track.
Right.
And then they also had an off-road loop for the XCs and the XCWs. And I pretty much got to ride, for the most part, all of the XCs and XCWs on the off-road loop, but I didn't get to ride the 450 and the 500 XCF. Is it F or W? I'm not really sure.
The 500 big bore mother thing.
The big thingamajigger, 500.
The Kirk Caselli bike.
But
they should just call it the KC. The 500 KC.
But what Brian's getting at is my good friend Matt Crouch. We were out for a hot lap.
He's a ginger as well, so that could say a lot.
Me, him, and my dad, we were out doing a hot lap, and it was really dusty, and honestly, it was kind of sketchy just because you'd be, like, railing around some sweepers, and then there'd be some, like, old four-wheeler trails, and basically what happened is we're railing around a turn, and it's dusty, kind of, and Matt just hits one of these four-wheeler trails, and it's like hitting a curb, and the bike just ejects left, and he basically pile drives himself into the ground, and that ground was like as hard as this metal. It was a no-go for sure.
Nowhere near as sexy as this metal.
As sad as I don't want to say it, he ate the ground pretty dang hard, and I felt bad for him because he was obviously in some gnarly pain.
Yeah, there was a picture we saw of him. He's all like bent over. You know, we've all been there. We've all had a bad crash. It sucks. But it was kind of like one of those deals where it was like, man, was that too much KTM for Matt Crouch?
Yeah.
You know, did he overextend? Did he overreach? I mean, it's possible because we know we've all done it. So,
but, I mean, I
Yeah.
only got to see the aftermath, but when I rolled up, he was pointing one way and the bike was pointing towards me, which didn't make any sense. So I knew something pretty gnarly had gone on.
That's not normal.
And I mean, it took a minute for him to get it up, but I'll give it to him. He toughed it out and got up, and he definitely had to take a break, but he's doing a lot better now. I mean, he's got some bumps and bruises, but it was definitely gnarly.
Nice. Okay, give us a quick synopsis of the two-strokes, and we'll move on to some other stuff going on in the world. I just kind of want to know a little bit about the two-strokes. You know, I mean, we've got the 125s, the 150, 250, 300s. I mean, there's a good spectrum. All the XCS, or the SXs, the XCs, XCW, all the brands. You know, top 2 favorites. What were they?
Top 2 favorites were definitely the 150 SX and the 250 XC.
250 XC. 250 XC over the 300. Why?
Honestly, it just not the motor itself, but the bike. The 300 just felt like it was heavier, even though it's not really that much heavier. I think it was just the bigger head and everything on it, just completely different feel. But it's definitely still a good bike and hits hard when you need it.
Okay, so and do you feel that the 250 two-stroke rode more like a two-stroke, and then 300 two-stroke rode more like a 4-stroke? Maybe that it was like you were on the throttle differently from the 250, or did you feel like you rode them both like a two-stroke?
I mean, I definitely rode them both like a two-stroke, but the 300 definitely had a little better roll-on just because it's got that little bit more punch. And the 250 XC, it felt a little lighter, and I mean, I'm only 150 pounds, so the lighter the bike, the better I can throw it around, and It's definitely got some power.
That's what I say about all my girlfriends.
Throw her around.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago. You know, married now with a kid on the way.
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day when I used to be able to have stories to tell. All right, so the stories that we do get to talk about are the outdoors, because that stuff has been on hold for a little bit now. We've had a little bit of a break. We got some good races coming up. There's Redbud in the next weekend. This weekend is still another weekend off. But we have had so much crazy crap go on. You know, everybody saw Stewart doing such a really good job. Swept the first 2 races, all 4 motos. And then he wrecks. You know, it's like, I'm not, you don't need to blame him on anything. He wrecks. It happens. He gets injured, and now he's kind of...
Happens to everybody.
Yes, exactly. Matt Crouch. Well, I don't know. You know, but, and now Ryan Dungey's kind of walking away with it. I mean, granted, people are definitely going to say, but it's because Stewart crashed. It's like, but Dungey still rides good. But the racing's been awesome.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, pretty much, like, Ryan Dungey and James Stewart, it's obvious they both rail. But when you see him hanging out, I mean, Stewart's a little bit faster. And, I mean, it's kind of obvious when you watch. But just riding on that fine line all the time, it happens. I mean, everyone crashes, and... Don't get me wrong, Dungey's a good rider, and it's very obvious that he's winning right now, and it gets sketchy sometimes, and it happens.
When we were at Freestone right there in the Texas 12-pack watching, you know, Dungey just try to find that line around that half a second to get past Stewart, and you could tell that they were both 110%, totally motivated, totally concentrated on what was going on. It
was gnarly.
Yeah, it was, so... I know that him going down was not a fluke. It wasn't anything accidental. I mean, those guys were pushing it all the time, and it just happens. And it's unfortunate because I think that kind of racing would have only pushed Ryan Dungey to try harder, because that's the thing
definitely.
Every race that guy evolves and changes.
Yeah, it just seems like throughout the season all he's done is get faster, and then at Freestone is when I really saw him come out of his shell, and he was all over Stewart. And
everybody's like, why isn't Dungey aggressive? You want aggressive?
Yeah, he was being aggressive. He
just couldn't find that line around him.
Like, and I don't doubt one bit, if he would have gotten the edge and got in front of Stewart, I have a feeling he would have ran away. I really do.
I would have liked to have seen it, just because it would have been... It shut everybody up. It would, because they would have been like... Because even then at that point, if Stewart would have crashed, and Ryan Dungey had the points that he had now, if that would have happened, they wouldn't have been able to say, oh, it's because Stewart's out. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been like,
that
no, Ryan Dungey's there. He's done it. He's beaten him. He just hasn't had that chance yet. So I'm hoping Stewart comes back healthy for Redbud. It sounds like he's going to. Yep. You know, he almost raced the last race. He didn't really get up there to do it. I
heard he rode practice. Is
that
true?
Yes. Okay. And he was like, but, dude. Yeah, it's not my wrist to say how much it does or doesn't hurt. That's the hard thing to realize, is that we're not the riders. Call. So absolutely, and he's the guy's making millions.
True.
So it's his $1 million wrist to just shave off a couple to anybody. There you go, Chris.
That's for sure.
There you go, guy over there. It's a wall. It's not really anybody. It's just free money, really.
Yeah.
Okay. Outdoors is good. Looking forward to Redbud. We still need to. We're gonna have a housewarming party here at the new house. Sooner or later. But after that, you're here. You're going to be the DD for everybody. I'm just kidding. But we need to have an outdoor watching party here.
We do.
Get some outdoor... I mean, this is a big house. Mm-hmm. We need to partay.
Big house.
Okay. We're going to plan that. Y'all are going to come.
Big screen.
Yeah. It's way bigger than what you're looking at right now. It's amazingly huge.
It's so big.
Yeah. Stop looking, man. It's awkward.
Jeez, guys.
So X Games is happening this weekend. Actually, as we talk, X Games has started. It is 8 p.m. It was 8 p.m. Central when it started. It is 9:15 now. So an hour and 15 minutes ago, X Games started. Skateboarders kicking around their little flip boards and whatnot. But thing that's going to go on for us off-road guys is the enduro cross that's going on.
X-Cross.
Yeah, or X-Cross maybe is what they called it last year. I have no idea what they're calling it this year. So that's happening. Do you have any excitement?
Definitely. I mean, enduro cross is always definitely a thrill because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, me and Brian have both experienced it. I mean, you can have a clean
I have cracked cases and I have won. It has been awesome.
Yeah. Same here. But we both know, and then many other people, as y'all know, you can have one perfect lap, and then the next lap you can have a living hell. So it's really just, there's no telling who's going to win. I mean, Taddy's been riding really good. I know a bunch of other people have been riding good, but there's just no telling who's going to come out. And I mean, who's going to come out on top. And I know for a fact there's a bunch of wild cards coming from Europe, so it's all up in the air right now. That's
a really good point. There are a bunch of wild cards coming from Europe. I think Graham Jarvis is one of them. He's been he just got in town. Yep. He is like the king right now. Yeah. He kind of took Taddy's crown. Definitely. Or, you know, there was David Knight, Taddy Blazuzziak took that crown, and then Graham Jarvis has kind of taken Taddy's crown. But in a lot of the indoor European events that Graham Jarvis has done, he has not performed as well as Taddy has when they're both in Europe. And so I want to see how he's going to do indoor in like a more American style endurocross track where they're much more technical.
See, that's what I've been wondering too, because you see him do. I can't think of the name right now, but Graham Jarvis won that one extreme race.
The Romaniacs, and then he's done Roof of Africa. He's won Romaniacs, and he's won the hard enduro.
The hard enduro.
Well, Erzberg this year he's been disqualified the past 2 years at Erzberg. Johnny Walker actually won this past year because even though Graham Jarvis got first, he was disqualified because he missed a check-in.
Oh,
like pretty much an ob check. He missed an ob check somewhere in the hills. So that's like the second or third year it's happened to him.
Close. But what I was saying is.
You were. I'm sorry.
No, you are.
Chuck!
It's your show.
Shut up!
Your show. No,
make it your show.
Taddy has a lot more experience in racing in actual endurocross and like WFO in between each obstacle. And just from seeing Graham Jarvis, I mean, hands down, he's killed and won a bunch of events. But that's one thing I've never seen out of him is that I don't know if he has that intensity level in between each obstacles like you need in endurocross that Taddy obviously has.
Yeah. Gas throttle or gas clutch.
Rock.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I mean, because Taddy has, I think when you watch Taddy win and he goes through his whole spiel of like, he's doing his little wheelies and his fun little balancing act and all that kinds of stuff. I think that personality really helps the fact that I think that's what helps him win because he has that adrenaline rush. He wants that win. He wants to perform for the crowd where a lot of other guys are just like, man, I want to get the bonus.
Yep.
You know, but it's like Taddy's like always there unless he barely makes a mistake. And when he does, it's a pretty costly one. Or like the first round, he just got taken out in the first turn, you know? Still came up to third.
Like that should tell you something.
Yeah, he's pretty good. So I have a feeling that he's going to do all right this coming weekend. But we're excited to see X Games. It's going to be awesome. We know coming up it's going to be some more outdoors. There's a couple Texas races happening. Even though it is plus 100 degree,
106 degrees today.
It's ridiculous. Texas is not the place to ride right now. Colorado has fires. Don't go there. I don't know.
And that was one of the good things about the KTM dealer show because it was a blistering 65 degrees. So you can only imagine how much that sucked.
Yeah. Yep. As much as my fits. All right. Thank you very much. This has been episode 58. Chris, I have to say, you're a very good co-host. I've had a lot of fun with you on the couch tonight.
Definitely had a good time.
What'd you think? Not the worst time?
Had a good time. I always have a good time hanging out with Brian and his family. And I've always wanted to be on seat time. And
this is the couch to do it.
Awesome. Oh, yeah. Good couch.
$40 off of Craigslist.
Awesome. You got the... That's what's up.
I don't know what any STDs it came with, but, you know, whatever.
But, I mean, definitely had a good time. And, Brian, I would like to thank you for having me on, and I'd love to come on again.
Oh, right. Sorry. It's going to happen. Don't you worry. So, Seat Time. You can find us on our website, seattime.co. We're on Facebook as well, facebook.com/seattime, and on Twitter, which is seattime_co. If you think this little koozie I have here is cool, seattime.bigcartel.com. You can order either your pair of 2
do it
or your quadrant of 5. Because we all know that you're going to either lose them, rent them to a friend, or just get drunk and forget where you put it. Which is probably in the lost it category. But that's, in my realm, it's probably another category. You should just get more than one. Because I won't let you get just one. That's going to happen.
Definitely.
Thank you very much for being attuned. Thank you very much for being in the show. Remember, kids, always enjoy a pint full of awesome. Have fun. Don't do anything stupid. And if you do, please call us about it. Peace.
Deuce it. Winners Club.
I'm gonna. One day.
Thanks, everybody. Pint full awesome. Hey. Choo choo.